Hello everyone, welcome back. So today we are going to discuss a very critical topic that is essential for your UPSC preparation. Okay, so the topic is Ramsar sites and wetlands in India. Okay, Ramsar sites and wetlands in India. So this particular topic holds immense significance for both your prelims and mains paper. Okay, so in prelims, questions can appear under environment and ecology, focusing on recent additions of Ramsar site, their locations, and even criteria for selections and all that. Okay, for mains, particularly in GS3 paper, wetlands are crucial in the context of conservation, environmental pollution, and degradation. Okay, so understanding the wetlands role in biodiversity, climate regulation, and sustainable development can help you craft a better answer. Okay, so let's first understand why this particular topic was in news recently. Okay, so earlier this month, the Union Environmental Minister announced the addition of three new Ramsar sites. Okay, three new Ramsar sites in India. These include the Nanjarayan Bird Sanctuary, the Kaduveli Bird Sanctuary, both are in Tamil Nadu, and the Tava Reservoir in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, so with these addition, India now has a total of 85 Ramsar sites. Okay, so which is among the highest in Asia. Okay, okay. So let's discuss about the new Ramsar sites in India. Okay. First one is Nanjaran Bird Sanctuary. Okay, Nanjarayan Bird Sanctuary. It's located in Tamil Nadu. It's situated on the banks of River Noyal. Okay, originally it was a reservoir for irrigation. It has transformed into a rich habitat for various birds, including migratory species and that pass through the Central Asian Flyway. Okay, the Central Asian Flyway. And the significant species found here include the Eurasian coot and the spot-billed duck. Okay, the Eurasian coot and the spot-billed duck. Okay, so this is about the Nanjarayan Bird Sanctuary. So about the Nanjarayan Bird Sanctuary in Tamil Nadu, it's located on the banks of River Noyal. Originally, it was a reservoir for irrigation, and then it has transformed into a rich habitat for various birds. Okay, so including these migratory species, they do a stopover while passing through the Central Asian Flyway. Okay, the next one is Kaduveli Bird Sanctuary. This one is also in Tamil Nadu. Okay, so it is found along the Coromandel coast. And which is along the southeastern coastline of India. Okay, near the Bay of Bengal. So the sanctuary is known for its extensive brackish water wetlands, which provide important habitat for various bird species and play a very crucial role in the local ecosystem. Okay, so it supports endangered species like black-headed ibis and great flamingo and all that. Okay, so besides being a bird habitat, the Kaduveli the bird sanctuary also helps with flood control, and it recharges the groundwater. Okay, and it is very crucial for the local water supply also. Okay, so these two bird sanctuaries are in Tamil Nadu, and the next one is Tawa Reservoir. It's in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, so it is formed by damming the Tawa River. Okay, the Tawa River. This reservoir plays a vital role in that particular region's water management, and it serves as a wintering ground for migratory birds. Okay, it serves as a wintering ground for the migratory birds and provides water for irrigation, drinking, and sustaining the local fisheries and all that. Okay. When I was talking about the Nanjarayan Bird Sanctuary, I mentioned about these migratory species that pass through the Central Asian Flyway. Okay, so I thought why not explain a little bit about migratory highway. Okay, so what are migratory highways? So migratory highways refer to the specific routes or pathways that the migratory birds and other wildlife follow. okay, during their seasonal migrations. Okay, so these routes are very crucial for their survival of many species, and they travel between their breeding and their wintering grounds. Okay, so these migratory pathways are often referred to as flyways also. Okay, so the major flyways around the world include East Asian Australasia Flyway, the East Atlantic Flyway, the Pacific Highway, the Central Asian Flyway, and all that. Okay, so mainly these migratory highways often follow some certain geographical landmarks. Okay, so the birds use these as landmarks. Okay, not the highways, but the coastlines, the mountain ranges, the river valleys, and all that. Okay, and those river valleys also provide suitable conditions and resources along the way also. Okay, they during stopovers, they choose that places. Okay, so one such stopover is Nanjarayan Bird Sanctuary. Okay, and these particular routes are very essential for wildlife, as they provide necessary stopover sites where the birds can rest, feed, and recuperate. Okay, so the health of migratory highway is very critical for maintaining the biodiversity of the species that depend on these routes. Okay, but there are a lot of challenges also in these along these migratory highways. The challenges are as usual habitat loss and climate change. Okay, because the changes in climate alters the availability of resources along these migratory paths, and it can affect the timing and routes also. Okay, and due to fragmentation, due to deforestation and all that, habitat loss also is also there. Okay, so this affects the survival of the wildlife, so it's very important to conserve these protected areas also. Okay, so that's why efforts like Ramsar conventions and all that are in place. Okay, so to protect these key habitats along the migratory pathways, not only along the migratory pathways, but protect the wetlands. Okay, what are wetlands? So according to Ramsar Convention, wetlands are defined as areas of marsh, fen, peatland, or water. Okay, it can either be natural or artificial. Okay, so it can be permanent or temporary type also. Okay, and the water can be either of static or flowing also. Okay, non-flowing or flowing. It can either be fresh, brackish, or salt water. It can also include areas of marine water, and the water depth should not exceed 6 meters. Okay, so this broad definition encompasses lakes, rivers, underground aquifers, swamps, marshes, and other significant water bodies also. Okay, so you might have some questions now. Is a lake a wetland? Does over sequestration of carbon affect the water quality? Or even is there any said water height for wetlands and all that? Okay, so we'll discuss all. Okay, in detail. So wetlands can have varying water depths. Okay, it can vary depending on the type and location. Okay, so some wetlands are shallow. Okay, and they can be like a few centimeter depth also. Okay, a few centimeter deep, and others might have several meters depth also, no problem. It can either be permanent or seasonal water levels also, no problem. Okay, so the permanent wetlands or those wetlands which have water throughout the year. Okay, throughout the year, the depth may fluctuate slightly due to the seasonal changes like rains and all that, but okay, but they have water throughout the year. But the seasonal or the temporary, the temporary wetlands, these wetlands may dry up completely at certain times of the year and fill up again during the rainy season. Okay, so actually there are shallow wetlands, and these wetlands can have a water depth of anywhere around 0 to 2 meters. Okay, and it should also support a wide variety of emergent plants, that is the plants that grow above the surface. Okay, such as reeds and all that. Okay, these areas are also rich in aquatic life, including fish, amphibians, and all that. Okay, and there is another category, the moderate depth. Okay. So in moderate depth, it can vary from the water level can vary from 2 to 6 meters. Okay, these support submerged plants as well as fish and other aquatic organisms. So in deeper wetlands, the lack of sunlight penetration limits some plant growths to certain adapted species. Okay. So, according to Ramsar Convention, the definition of wetlands includes areas with water that is static or flowing also, fresh or brackish or salt, including areas of marine water, and the depth at low tide should not exceed 6 meters. Okay, that's what the Ramsar criteria says. Okay, and is there any importance for these water height in wetlands? Yes, there is importance, because the type of vegetation found in wetlands is directly related to the depth of the water. Okay, so emergent plants thrive well in shallow waters, while submerged plants prefer some deeper areas. Okay, and different species of wildlife are also adapted to different water depths. Okay, so some waddling birds may prefer shallow waters. Okay, because it's easier to hunt food for them, because the fish might go to the deeper waters for breeding and protection and all that. Okay, and water depth can also affect the wetlands ability to filter the pollutants and store carbon. Okay, so shallow wetlands with abundant plant life are often most effective at trapping sediments and pollutants. Okay, the next of let's discuss is a lake, a wetland. Okay, so wetlands are areas where water is the primary factor. We have already discussed about that, right? So lakes that are shallow and have abundant aquatic vegetation such as reeds, floating plants, and all that can are often classified as wetlands. Okay, they can be wetlands. Okay, but provided they should provide a habitat for wide variety of wetland species, including amphibians, birds, and fishes. Okay, there are seasonal lakes also, but these lakes only hold water during certain times of the year. Okay, they hold water only during certain times of the year, that is during the rainy season, and may dry up at other times. Okay, so these are also considered as wetlands only, and not all lakes are classified as what wetlands, because there are some lakes that are very deep, and these are permanent lakes with very clear and open waters with little to no wetland vegetations. Okay, so these are typically not considered as wetlands under the Ramsar definition. Okay, they don't come under the Ramsar criteria. Okay, however, the shallow edges of these lakes can still be a wetland area. Okay, so the key characteristics of wetlands are vegetation, okay, and water, hydrology, and then biodiversity. Okay, so these are the key characteristics of a wetland. Okay, so vegetation, because only then the hydrophytic vegetation will grow, right? Like reeds and other aquatic plants and all that. So it is a strong indicator of a lake being a wetland. And then the water level in the lake can fluctuate naturally, but the lake might have areas like seasonally or permanently waterlogged areas also. Okay, the lake should support a wide range of species that are typically found in wetlands. Okay, so what are the examples of wetland lakes in India? Okay, Chilka Lake and Loktak Lake. So about Chilka Lake, so even though it is a large brackish water lake, it is classified as a wetland and a Ramsar site because of its shallow areas. Okay, and it also has a rich biodiversity, and it also plays a very critical role in supporting the migratory birds. Okay, and about the Loktak Lake, this freshwater lake is in Manipur, and it is also considered a wetland due to its floating fume disk. Okay, that is floating islands, naturally occurring floating islands, okay, and the diverse species it supports, okay. So a lake can be a wetland if it meets the criteria supporting the wetland vegetation and having this fluctuating water levels and serving a habitat for wetland species and all that, okay. But not all lakes are wetland, remember that, okay. But many, particularly these shallow or seasonal variable lakes and all that, those are classified as wetlands. So, to answer the next question, does over sequestration of carbon affect the water quality? Okay. So, while carbon sequestration in wetlands is a critical ecological function, its effects on water quality are complex and multifaceted. Okay. So, in general, healthy wetland help maintain good water quality by filtering the pollutant, okay, by filtering the pollutant and regulating the nutrients, maintaining the oxygen levels, okay. However, if the balance of carbon sequestration is disrupted, whether through a natural process or through human intervention, it could lead to issues like nutrient leaching or oxygen depletion, acidification, okay, and the release of contaminants also, all of which could contribute to the degrading of water quality, okay. So therefore it is essential to manage the wetland and ensure that the carbon sequestration process are in harmony with the overall health of the ecosystem, okay. So next off, let's discuss about the Ramsar Convention, okay. So what is it? The Ramsar Convention is an international treaty, okay, it's an international treaty focused on the conservation of the wetlands, okay, international treaty focused on the conservation of the wetlands. The main goal of the treaty is to protect and conserve the wetlands, protection and conservation of the wetlands, okay, around the world by designating them as Ramsar sites. Okay, so wetlands are critical for biodiversity, water regulation, and climate stability. Okay, so what are the selection criteria? Okay, let's talk about that. To be designated as a Ramsar site, a wetland must meet certain criteria set out by the convention itself. Okay, so these criteria often considered factors like biodiversity, ecological importance, and also the presence of rare or endangered species also. Okay, so the criteria includes the importance for maintaining the ecological balance, providing essential habitat for various species, okay, and also about the contribution to local livelihoods and culture also, okay. So ecological significance, habitats, and ecological and social benefits, okay. And what are the associated organizations linked to this, okay. So organizations such as IUCN, the International Union for Conservation of Nature, and the WWF, the Worldwide Fund for Nature. Okay, and there are other environmental groups also. They work with the Ramsar Convention to promote the wetland conservation. Okay, so the international partners are who and all? The IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature, and the Worldwide Fund for Nature. Okay, WWF, and there are other environmental groups that work with the Ramsar Convention to promote the wetland conservation. Okay, so what is how many countries have signed this? Okay, so there are around 172 signatory countries, okay, and these countries are committed to creating a protected wetland reserves and ensuring that the wetland habitat are used sustainably and wisely, okay. And India joined the Ramsar Convention in 1982. The country initially designated two sites, the Chilka Lake in Odisha, and the Kiledu National Park in Rajasthan. Okay, Kiledu National Park in Rajasthan. So India now has one of the largest number of Ramsar sites in Asia, reflecting its commitment to wetland conservation. Okay, so some other notable Ramsar sites in India are uh, Sundarbans. Sundarbans, located in West Bengal. This particular site is very famous for its unique mangrove forest. It's also home to the Bengal tiger. Okay, and there are these high altitude wetlands in Ladakh, Tozo, Moriri, and Pangong, Tozo. Okay, so these are the high altitude wetlands in Ladakh, and they are known for their rare and endangered species, including the black neck crane and all that. Okay, so Ramsar Convention is a like a global effort to protect the wetlands. Okay, it's a global effort to protect the wetlands, which are essential for biodiversity and ecosystem. Okay, ecosystem services. So the signatory countries includes India also. So importance of wetlands. Okay, why are wetlands important? So wetlands are among the most productive and vital ecosystem on earth. Okay, so it provides a wide range of ecological, economic, and social benefits. Let's go through all the importance of wetlands. Okay, so first and foremost is biodiversity hotspots. Okay, so wetlands support a rich variety of species. It includes many that are specially adapted to these regions, these environments. Okay, so they are home to numerous plants, birds, fish, amphibians, and all that. And many wetlands serve as critical habitat for endangered species also. Okay, offering breeding grounds and feeding areas and migratory stopover also. Okay, so one such importance is biodiversity hotspots. Okay, the next is natural filters. Wetlands act as a natural filter because it traps the sediments. Okay, so it traps the sediments and pollutants and also the excess nutrients from water. So this particular process helps improve the water quality. Okay, so water quality is improved. Okay, purifying water, and thus making it cleaner and safer for human consumption and supporting aquatic life. Okay, so by absorbing excess nutrient, wetlands can prevent the occurrence of harmful algal blooms in the water bodies. Okay, that is it helps in the reduction of algal blooms. Okay, the next one is climate regulation. Okay, so wetlands are effective at storing carbon. We all know that, right? Carbon sequestration, which helps mitigate climate change. Okay, so peatlands, it's a type of wetland and are particularly significant carbon sinks. It stores more carbon per unit area than forest. Okay, and wetlands can also moderate local climates by cooling the air in summer, and it is very important. Okay, the next of is flood control. So wetlands absorb and store excess rainfall, thus reducing the impact of floods. Okay, so they also act as natural buffers, slowing down the flow of water and preventing a sudden floods. Floods downstream. And wetlands also help in water storaging also. Okay, they help replenish the groundwater by supplying or allowing the water to infiltrate into the ground slowly, thus ensuring the stable supply of fresh water during dry periods. Okay, the next one is erosion control. The vegetation in wetlands helps stabilize the soil and also prevents the erosion. Okay, particularly along the river banks and coastlines. So this is crucial for maintaining the integrity of landscapes and protecting infrastructure. Okay, and how it supports agriculture and fisheries. Okay, so wetlands often are surrounded by fertile lands that are ideal for agriculture due to the nutrient rich soil and regular water supply. And many wetlands, especially in coastal areas, are vital for fisheries. They serve as nurseries for fish, shellfish. Okay, and they even support the local economies and food security also. Okay, thus providing food security. So the other economic benefits they get is it attracts tourism. The wetlands attract tourism for activities like bird watching, fishing, boating, and nature walks and all that. Okay, so this tourism can be a significant source of income for the local communities there. And wetlands also provide resources like reeds and all that for hatching, medicinal plants and all that. Okay, fishes and all that. So thus help giving them economic benefits. Okay, and wetlands also hold a deep cultural and spiritual significance for these indigenous and local communities. They often there are often the sites of cultural practice or traditional hunting, fishing, and gathering and all that. Okay, so wetlands also serve as a natural laboratory for scientific research and environmental education also. Okay, and by these wetlands act as a buffers against storm and surges and flood waters. The wetlands also reduce the impact of natural disasters like sorry, like hurricanes, typhoons, tsunamis and all that, thus protecting human lives and property. Okay, and the wetlands also are also crucial stopover points for migratory birds, providing resting and feeding grounds during their long journeys. The wetlands also play a very important role in maintaining the global water cycle, and it also influences the weather patterns and distribution of water resources. Okay, so I have discussed some points here. You could select some 5 points or 6 points and add it in your answer writing. Okay, it will be very helpful. The next of is threats to wetland. Okay, so wetlands face numerous threats that can degrade their ecosystem and reduce their ability to provide these vital services. Okay, so we'll discuss the most significant threats to wetland. So the first one is unsustainable development. So the conversion of wetlands into urban areas, industrial zones, or industrial projects like roads, airports, and all that leads to loss and fragmentation of these ecosystem. Okay, and wetlands are also frequently drained or filled in to create agricultural land. So this not only destroys the wetland, but they also disturbs the natural hydrology. It affects the water availability and quality also. Okay, so there's a data that around 87% of world's wetland have been lost in the last 300 years. Okay, to provide land for housing, industry, and agriculture. You could use this point. Okay, this is important. The next of is pollution. Okay, so pesticides, fertilizers, heavy metals, and other pollutants from agriculture and industries can enter the wetlands, leading to a contamination of water and soil. Okay, water and soil. So this pollution harms aquatic life. It disrupts the ecosystem, and it also can make the water unsafe for human use. Okay, so untreated water or partially treated sewage water or industrial waste can also lead to nutrition overload. Okay, so causing problems like algal blooms. These further depletes the oxygen in the water and kills the fishes and the aquatic life. Okay, and wetlands also act as a trap for plastic waste. Okay, plastic waste and other pollutants also, which can accumulate and have toxic effects on the wildlife itself. Okay, so around 80% of global wastewater is released into the wetlands untreated, with pollution from factories, fertilizer, pesticides, and major spills posing serious threats to ecosystem. Okay, the next of is climatic change. So global warming affects wetlands by altering the temperature of the water. Okay, so it disrupts the species that are sensitive to temperature changes, such as certain fishes and amphibians and all that. So climatic change can also lead to altered rainfall patterns also. Okay, thus causing these wetlands to dry up, or others to flood more frequently and all that. Okay, so this affects the balance of the ecosystem and can lead to the loss of wetland habitats. Okay, And even this coastal wetlands such as mangroves and salt marshes and all that, they are also particularly vulnerable to sea level rise. Okay, that's also a concern, because increased saltwater intrusion can change the composition of these ecosystem, and making them less suitable for many species. The next one is invasive species. Okay, so invasive species can outcompete the native species for resources and alter the habitat structure, and it also disrupts the ecological balance of the wetlands. For example, the invasive species like water hyacinth can choke the waterways, reducing the habitat for native species and altering the water flow. Okay. The next is over exploitation of resources. Okay, so unsustainable fishing or hunting in wetlands can lead to depletion of species population, disrupting the food web and leading to a decline in biodiversity. Okay, so activities like peat extraction, logging, mining can also degrade these wetlands, leading to habitat loss and increased vulnerability to threats. Okay. Then the construction of dams or water diversion projects can also significantly alter the natural flow of water by reducing the amount of water reaching the wetlands and changing their ecological character. Okay, and also groundwater depletion, that is over extraction of groundwater for agriculture or urban use, can lower water tables, leading to the drying of wetlands. Okay. The next one is encroachment. So illegal encroachment by nearby communities or industries for housing or farming or any other uses can lead to degradation of these wetlands. Okay, the wetlands are often drained and filled to create land for development projects and all that, leading to permanent loss of wetland ecosystem. Okay, the next one is habitat fragmentation. So, a fragmentation of wetland habitats by roads, canals, or urban development can isolate the species population, thus reducing the genetic diversity of those species. Okay, and making it difficult for the species to migrate or disperse also. The next one is eutrophication. Okay, so the influx of nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus from fertilizers and sewage can lead to eutrophication. Okay, so where excess plants and algal growth depletes the oxygen in water, creating a dead zones where aquatic life cannot survive. The threats to wetlands are numerous and interconnected. Okay, so addressing these threats is very important. And sustainable land use practices, pollution control measures, public awareness campaigns. Okay, so everything is very very important. So conserving wetlands is very essential, not only for preserving the biodiversity but also for maintaining the ecosystem, that ecosystem services that benefits the humanity. Okay. The next of is I'll discuss some datas, okay, that you could use in your exams. To get more marks in your answer writing, you could add these points. Okay, so this is from the global perspective and also from the Indian perspective. Okay, so according to a Ramsar Convention, the global wetland outlook 2018, 35% of world's wetlands were lost between 1970 and 2015. Okay, so this means that more than a third of all the wetlands worldwide has disappeared over the this 45 year period. Okay, from 1970 to 2050. Okay, and the primary reason for this loss is human activities first. Okay, these include activities like urbanization, agriculture, industrial development, infrastructure projects and all that. So such activities often lead to draining, filling or destruction of wetlands. Okay, and the next important data is, this is also from the global perspective. Okay, so a UK based organization called the Wildfowl and Wetlands Trust has found that the wetlands are among the most threatened habitats on earth. So this means that the wetlands are at a high risk of being destroyed or significantly degraded over time. Okay, so the wildlife species that depend on these wetlands for their survival are also among the most endangered. Okay, so this includes various birds, fishes, and all that. And another data from Indian context, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climatic Change in India is has published reports that indicate the degradation and shrinking of wetlands across the country. Okay, so this means that wetlands in India are getting smaller and are in worse condition than before. Okay, so what are the main causes in India that caused this degradation? First, encroachment, pollution, rapid urbanization, and agriculture and industrial runoff. Okay, so from global perspective, uh, we understood that a significant portion of the world's wetland has been lost due to human activities over recent decades, thus making them one of the most threatened ecosystem. Okay, and from Indian context, in India, the wetlands are shrinking and degrading due to encroachment, pollution, urbanization, and harmful runoff and all that. Okay, so which negatively impacts the water quality and biodiversity. Okay. Next, we will discuss the steps taken by the Indian government. Okay, so the first one is NWCMA. Okay, so NWCMA is a statutory organization in India tasked with overseeing the conservation and management of the wetlands. Okay, so what are the functions? Okay, so they provide technical assistance. So what does they do? They provide expertise and support to states and local authorities on these wetland conservation projects and all that. And often they offer funds to support initiatives aimed at protecting and managing the wetland. Okay, the next one is NWCP, okay, of 1986, the National Wetland Conservation Program, NWCP of 1986. Okay, so the NWCP was established to protect and conserve the wetlands in India. Okay, so the wetland identification, they does that. Okay, so they identify and map important wetlands areas that need protection. They also develop strategies and plans for effective management and conservation of the wetlands. And they also raise awareness about the importance of wetlands among the public and stakeholders. Okay, and they support the research to further understand the wetlands, and find ways to improve their conservation. Okay, so the important achievements that they have made is they have successfully identified and cataloged many important wetlands, and they have established protected areas and conservation sites for wetlands. And they have increased the public awareness and supported various research initiatives. Okay, so despite these achievements also, the wetlands still face threats from human activities and environmental changes. Okay, so they are still the efforts are still ongoing, and to address these challenges. Okay, the third one is Wetland Conservation and Management Rule 2010. Okay, so what is the purpose of this is these rules set out a structured approach for the conservation and management of wetlands in India. Okay, so this provides a detailed guideline on how the wetlands should be conserved and managed. Okay, so how does they do that? They establish criteria for identifying and classifying the wetlands, and they set out a regulation for protection and management of wetland areas to ensure their health and sustainability. Okay, so in short, the steps the Indian government has taken are NWCMA, NWCP, and the Wetland Conservation and Management Rule 2010. Okay, so in NWCMA, it provides technical and financial support for wetland conservation. NWCP, the National Wetland Conservation Program 1986, so it focuses on identifying, planning, and raising awareness about wetlands with ongoing efforts which still needed to tackle the threats. Okay, and the third one is Wetland Conservation and Management Rule 2010. So this establishes a regulatory framework for the protection and management of wetlands. Okay, so these steps are aimed at preserving India's diverse wetland ecosystem, so which are crucial for us. Okay, so we have reached the end of this topic. Okay, So we are wrapping up this detailed discussion on Ramsar sites and wetlands. Okay, so it's clear that ecosystem are not just a part of our natural heritage, but is also crucial for our survival. Also, okay, so remember, as future policymakers and leaders, your role in environment conservation starts now. Okay, so India's effort to protect and conserve wetlands is highlighted by the addition of new Ramsar sites, and it also demonstrates a strong commitment to preserving these vital ecosystem. Okay, and it is also important that active public participation is necessary to ensure that our wetlands are protected for future generations. Okay, so stay informed and be a part of our channel. Thank you for watching this lecture. So if you found it helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Okay, for more such informative lectures, we have a lot coming out for you. Okay, so be prepared and all the best for your UPSC journey. Bye bye.